because the individual is bringing it here.
Excuse me, I never mentioned your name or anything.
Agreed. Table it. Move
This
on.
was an issue for the transportation and the school
Okay,
district. And I have had enough of this.
You're right, it's not the right time or place. Move on.
Sir, you're out of order.
Thank you.
President's report.
Wait a minute, you just said that she couldn't speak, and you're letting her speak. Does she follow?
There's a
the
time for comment,
Come on.
and there's not a time for comment. It's the president's report, sir. The president has the floor.
Keeps up, I will contact my lawyer. This attacks were still going on today,
Sir, you're out.
and you heard the results from the police.
Look, the information I have from the police is completely different from that information, so I don't know what to tell you. Look, you know what, I've had fault, look, I have been attacked by these people over and over, and I don't respond. But I'm sorry, this had to do with my son. There was another incident where they filed a false citation against my husband, and I keep quiet when they're attacking me. But I'm not going to be having that people attack my husband, my family, and my children. Superintendents report.
Thank you. I hope that the people in the audience, if you are not following the district on Twitter after this president's report, you will immediately. There are some outstanding, wonderful things that we're going to share this evening that have to do with kids and what they're doing within the district. And it's just really exciting to see these spread out and not to have 10 of them in one night. Not that this won't be awesome, but in terms of being able to do that. So I just would encourage you to do that because all of these things have been reported, but I do want to celebrate some of the things that have happened over the last month. First, I want to congratulate a group of students, some of which are here tonight, and I appreciate all of you getting dressed up and coming out tonight to do that. I'd like to recognize and congratulate the Pennridge High School Future Business Leaders of America chapter. FBLA is their acronym. For their strong showing at the recent regional competition. We have 26 students, and some of them are here this evening, who will be moving on to the State Leadership Conference, which is held in Hershey in the spring. They earned the trip to states by excelling at the Regional 12 Leadership Conference, what was held at Del Valle University in December. And Region 12 consists of 16 Bucks County schools. All of their names and photos are also on our website, so if you'd like to see the complete list. I'd like to also recognize as part of the group, 10th grader Rebecca Yardley. Another honor that the FBLA region had is that Rebecca, a 10th grader, was named as vice president for the entire region for next year. It is the first time in over 10 years that any Pennridge student has been elected to the regional executive board. So Rebecca, are you here tonight? Oh, okay. Well, if we could have all of the rest of the FBL students who qualified and were part of that team, if you would rise so you can be recognized and then come on forward so we can have a picture. Congratulations.
That's good, right about there. Right about there. Tighten up a little bit. Couple in the front. Put a good looking one. That's dress.
Yeah, we need to make sure.
Yeah, that's fine. That's good. Yeah, go ahead. That's fine. They can go ahead. I'm not gonna. All right, everybody looking right here on 3. 1, 2, and 3. Again. Good. Anything else?
All right, before you all leave, I have one board clarifying question. So do you qualify for states individually, as groups, or both?
I can answer it.
Awesome.
So some of the groups are individual. We have others that are as teams. They range from teams of 2 or teams of 3 or 4. We've gotten the show of hands who made it as a team. Do we have any full teams that are here tonight? All right, anyone make it as an individual? Okay.
Awesome. Great, thank you. I also would like to recognize Owen Orser. Owen, I was able to be at the tech school in December where Owen was recognized as the student of the month at the Upper Bucks County Technical School. It was a wonderful tribute where Owen and his parents and his teacher were there talking about some of the accomplishments that he has had. Owen is a student in the Diesel Equipment Technology program and already has a very successful job in his field lined up now as well as for when he graduates. So congratulations to Owen for that. I'd also like to let you know that a team from Seiler Elementary has also qualified for the state finals in the Invention Convention competition. 5th graders, Abigail Arnold Trainer, Milena Doster, Sophia Ogden, Lena Ortiz, and Molly Therese, came up with the crutch carrier, which is a simple solution to a common problem facing anyone who's been hobbled by a leg injury. Show of hands if you've had to use crutches at some point in your life. Well, so what they came up with, some of you are not telling the truth. What they came up with is a crutch carrier, which is a fabric that you connect through an elastic band to the back of your chair that allows the crutch to stay upright and be easily accessible. Again, if you've been on Twitter, you've seen pictures of it demonstrated. I would encourage you to check it out. It is awesome. Congratulations to the team from Seiler. The crutches get it. I like it. We had about 100 Penn Sale students who participated in a recent 2nd annual Dodgeball for Diabetes tournament last week. They raised over $1,500, and it's still climbing, for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Fund. And I really would like to thank the teachers, especially Mr. Jamie Bossler and Miss Melanie Welsh, for organizing the event. It was a wonderful afternoon, lots of fun, but also raising money for a good cause. The Percy Rotary Club recently named 2 Pennridge High School seniors as the club's Students of the Month, both in the fall. Andrea Varkay and Ian Livingood were named 2 different months and were honored for their academic achievements and their participation in many school and community activities. So congratulations to Andrea and to Ian. A couple notes from the athletic department, and the first one I want to make sure that you're all tuning back in, because sometimes when I say things, right, by this point, you're like, right? And so this one has little to do with athletics and everything to do with the kids at Pennridge, but it comes out of the athletic department. I was thrilled to see about 3 weeks ago, it was named that our fall athletes and coaches received the Suburban One League Continental Conference Fall Outstanding Sportsmanship Award. This is an award that is selected by the other coaches. So the coaches vote for the opposing teams, spectators, and coaches who receive the Sportsmanship Award. So it is for the overall program that exhibits the greatest sportsmanship, and just a huge congratulations and thank you to the athletes and the coaches who are involved in our fall sports. That's something to really be proud of. And not only are we kind, but we're good at it too, right? John Post was named one of the top 60 football players in the Eastern Pennsylvania by the Maxwell Football Club. Sean Yoder became only the 8th boy basketball player in school history to reach 1,000 career points recently. And Joseph Hong recently set a Pennridge High School pool record for the 100 breaststroke. He broke his own record. So my guess is I'll have him in the next report as well. For those of you who are curious, it was 1 minute and 69 hundredths of a second. So I'm sure he's looking to break a minute. Pennridge also recently received 2 grants for the total of $60,000. One was the state safety grant, which was a $25,000 grant that will provide emergency go kits for every classroom in the district. And I want to personally thank Dr. Price for his leadership on that grant. Thank you, Dr. Price. Second was the PA Smart K-12 Computer Science Grant, which was a $35,000 grant. The State Department of Education recently awarded it for the purpose of providing high-quality training and professional development in the area of teaching computer science education at the elementary level. Pennridge is one of only 9 districts in Bucks and Eastern Montgomery County to receive the grant. A portion of the funds will be used to send a team of teachers to a series of workshops where they will learn computer science standards and principles, and then be able to come back to their respective grade levels and think about how to incorporate them into the curriculum. The rest of the funds will be used for the actual resources, such as robots, coding software, and tablets, to be able to implement those standards and principles in the classroom. This grant will benefit students in all 7 of our elementary schools in terms of its use. And I'd like to thank Dr. Scheid as well as the technology integrators for their leadership on the grant. Thank you, Dr. Scheid. Next, the Safe to Say program, which is a new initiative across the state implemented by the Attorney General. Families in the district received an email yesterday about the Safe to Say program, which is a new tip line and training program that's been implemented across the state and also in Pennridge. I've asked Dr. Price if he would just briefly address that program, put a little meat to the email that was sent out. So Dr. Price, please. Use your outside voice.
Just not. Thanks, Dr. Bolton. So the Safe to Say, as Dr. Bolton mentioned, the initiative is a joint effort between the PA Attorney General's Office and the nonprofit Sandy Hook Promise Group. It is something that is widespread across the Pennsylvania, all schools, 500 schools in Pennsylvania. And now there's about 8 to 10 total schools nationwide that have come on board. And the goal is that all schools across the country would implement such an anonymous tip system, this specific one. So some districts had a similar system, and they're able to continue using that. For instance, they might have a county-wide system, but this one has to be added in addition to. So this was a mandate, and it's part of Act 44 of 2018. So the idea of this is that there's 3 different platforms to report a tip. That is through an app that a student or a parent can download, through a website, the Safe to Say website, or through the telephone hotline. Regardless of how the tip is submitted, the calls are fielded, or the tips electronically are fielded in a call center in Harrisburg, and then they're vetted to determine are they a life-threatening, immediate acting tip that requires a call to the school now, 24/7, 365. If so, and it falls into their category of life-threatening, they'll make a phone call to someone on that school's team list. If it's not, then the call office will get as much information as they can, and then they'll hand that off through the system, the online system, to the school. So our administrators and security guards have been trained to be able to go in there and field tips, and then we would act upon them as if we've gotten a tip in any other method, whether it was a one-on-one meeting or a phone call. At that point, our normal protocols, policies, guidelines prevail in that situation. So it's a method that we don't want to discourage our current reporting mechanisms, because we still want students to report these things in person to a trusted adult. However, if someone really needs to remain anonymous, or they think it's really timely that outside of school they need to get this information to someone immediately, then this would be a mechanism to do that. So students will be trained to hear about the system and learn how to report a tip in the upcoming weeks. We're live now, though. There's nothing preventing someone from submitting this at any level. There's no passcode or anything required. So we're ready to go if it would come in, but we will inform students of the details of this, and it'll be part of the training in the upcoming weeks.
Thank you, Dr. Price. I appreciate that. Mrs. Cole?
Just could you, either one of you, talk a little bit about how the other training that will go into it? You're receiving tips, but will people receive training on what should be reported? And you know what I'm saying? How to determine what.
So that's a great question. So the focus of the student training, and by training for students, what we've chosen to use is called an interactive video. It's about 50 minutes to an hour long, and by interactive we mean you can't just sit there as the presenter or whoever's on the computer clicking through, because this could be a larger group type presentation. So it might be a classroom with students, and the teacher might be the one clicking through this. You can't just let it play. You have to answer some questions along the way. You have to click on scenarios, and so that's what we mean by interactive. But the focus of the training is really on the reporting itself, and saying something and recognizing what a threat is. I'm going to say less than probably a quarter of the training is actually how to use the system, because it's pretty self-explanatory. Once you know the platforms and how to navigate there, it's really about recognizing threats, concern for others, looking out for your peers, and creating that environment in your school where looking out for one another.
Thank you, Dr. Price. January is School Board Directors Appreciation Month. And so I wanted to take some time to publicly recognize our board members for their work on behalf of the entire Pennridge community. It's estimated by the state that board members across the state volunteer anywhere from 10 to 20 hours per week dedicated to meetings, committee meetings, reading, and other preparations. Some weeks I'm sure it feels much longer than that. It is often a thankless job. It's hard to please all stakeholders, and sometimes the negative can seem louder than the positive. I can testify that each one of these 9 board members are hard workers who are total advocates for the Pennridge community, our students, our parents, and our staff. They ask excellent questions and are always considering what is best for our students. There was a small token of appreciation that you have all taken off of the board that is at your seats, and I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank you for your work and to show our appreciation. So thank you very much. There's also one donation to recognize tonight on the agenda. I'd like to thank Spectrum Industries Incorporated, who saw a few posts on Twitter, notice the theme, and they reached out to one of our schools to offer 2 mobile STEM cart labs to allow the teachers to move the equipment from one room to another. They had seen a post where it was a grade level who was doing multiple presentations, but the teachers were hand carrying the materials between classrooms. They reached out and said, we have 2 carts that are perfect for that. Please let us donate them to your schools. So a thank you to Spectrum Industries for donating those 2 carts to Siler. It will make it easier for us to set up STEM activities for students and then move them to multiple locations. So I want to appreciate them for their donation. And with that, I'll hand it back to you for the President's Report.
Okay, first, we would like to express our sincerest condolences for the loss of Dr. Buster A. Guth. Dr. Guth was a pillar of this community. He dedicated his life to education, community service, and even served in the Air Force during the Korean War. He and his wife of 58 years, Dr. Patricia A. Guth, most known for having one of our elementary schools named after her, in her honor, shared a passion for elementary education. I can tell you this firsthand, as they were my regular customers when I was a waitress at Keystone Restaurant. And while I was a server there, they were a major influence in my decision to get my degree in elementary education as opposed to secondary math. Dr. Guth was committed to serving his community and making things better for people. He worked in Souderton Area School District as a teacher and administrator for 31 years. He also served as both a member and the president of the Perkasie Borough Council, the Perkasie Lions Club, the Pennridge Community Center, and the Indian Valley Library Board of Directors. His loss leaves a great hole in this community, and he will be greatly missed. Our heart goes out to his family. And the second thing that I wanted to address is the Rock Hill Quarry. Kelly Harper, Bill Krause, and I attended a community meeting hosted by U.S. Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick, State Senator Steve Santorcero, and Representative Craig Statz, discussing concerns surrounding the Rock Hill Quarry in East Rock Hill Township. Hanson Aggregates owned the quarry, which was recently reopened and leased to R.E. Pearson Construction to handle the expansion of the Pennsylvania Turnpike for a $224 million contract. In order to operate under old permits, Hanson had to prove they were removing a minimum of 500 tons of stone per year. Inconsistencies in documentation and duplicity of the exact same tonnage for multiple truckloads have called into question the validity of that information. To further complicate matters, DEP had a flood, causing a loss of a period of backup documents. A thorough investigation is underway to determine if they were in compliance. If it is determined Hanson was not removing at least 500 tons of stone per year, they would have to file a new permit, which would hold them to current standards instead of decades-old standards they have been working under. Additional compliance issues were brought up, including that they are supposed to be misting the area so the dust settles in place and doesn't carry through the air to neighboring properties, which does not seem to be the case. During the core sampling process, asbestos was found in the rock, leading to a temporary shutdown of the mining, as well as further questions regarding the effect on water and air quality. Given its close proximity to Dibler Elementary, residents want to be sure this will not negatively impact the air and water quality at the school and would like the district to look into whether or not there are safety concerns we have to deal with. What I am hearing from our legislators is that DEP would have to give us those answers. We are following up to have discussions on how to help the community and the district get answers to these questions. All three legislators made it clear that they are going to fight to make sure that nothing moves forward unless it is done within compliance and in a safe way. They want to make sure all environmental concerns are evaluated independently by DEP. Other concerns that were raised had to do with whether or not the infrastructure is built to handle the weight and traffic of the loads and the noise impact. The legislators are meeting monthly on this issue and with DEP on a quarterly basis. We will continue to talk to them to help facilitate answers to the questions of residents. We offered to host the monthly meetings and would like to help bring DEP in to answer these direct questions from residents and give answers to the district on whether or not there are concerns that we need to worry about or not. The community was asked to be the eyes and ears for information and to contact the legislators with their concerns. That's all I have.
Next is our student reports. And so we'd like to welcome and ask to report first Christine and Andrea, who will give a report from the high school.
Good evening, my name is Andrea, and Christine and I will be representing Student Council. So for past events in November, Student Council conducted the food drive, where we collected cans that were donated in 9th period, and we donated it to Pennridge Fish. Looking forward, we're planning Winter Ball, which is going to happen on February 9th. And we're also in the works for planning 2 events, Blood Drive and Mr. Pennridge. So that's all.
We also have an added student report beginning tonight and extending monthly. Pleased to welcome student liaisons from the Upper Bucks County Technical School. And so each month we're going to have a report from the technical school. 2 of our students tonight, for comfort, they asked if they could both come. But then moving forward, they promised me that as long as we were nice to them, that only one of them would come per month, so they don't have to give up an evening. So I did ask tonight, simply it is new, for them to introduce themselves, tell you briefly about themselves and the program, as well as then report from Upper Bucks. So Haley, Kirsten, welcome. I don't know which one of you is going first, but please, thank you for being here.
Hi, I'm Kirsten DeVergelis. I come from the Animal Tech program from the Upper Bucks County Technical School. A lot of stuff that we do there is actually for the community, and that's my favorite thing about the tech school, is that we're about giving back.
Hi, I'm Haley Frable. I'm from the Healthcare Careers at Upper Bucks Technical School. Right now, I'm doing a lot of volunteer work at Telford Lutheran Community. I'm volunteering there doing patient care work, hopefully to get my CNA as a certified nurse's aide. I'm really excited for that.
I would just like to thank you all for allowing us to come here tonight and to tell you about the exciting things that's happening at the tech school.
I'd like to start with healthcare careers. We just recently had a blood drive on December 21st. We had about 41 donors, which is about 132 lives were saved.
Culinary, we actually have an actual restaurant that opens on March 26th, and it opens on Wednesdays and Thursdays and some Tuesdays. All the information can be found on the tech's website under culinary.
Baking and pastry, they have a bakery called Surprisingly Ridge. It opens back up to the public on January 31st.
The tech school also has an opportunity to have a food truck open to the community. It's for culinary and baking students only, and the name of the food truck, it's still in the working, but it's a cuisine for a cause. All the profits, or most of the profits made from the food truck are going to go to a certain donation